Hey, what's up? It's a Figure Hunter, and up for review today is the Powr Labs Armband Optical Heart Rate Monitor. As always, everything on the Figure Hunter channel and the Figure Hunter website associated with it is for the purpose of testing and tracking devices for CrossFit and CrossFit training and high-intensity interval training versus all the running, swimming, and biking videos that are out there. So if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. I've got the Whoop testing on the forearm wrapping up for heart rate accuracy there. I've got the full review for the Whoop. I've got the Oura Ring on the way, and I'm going to do a big Christmas buying guide coming out Monday morning, the 22nd, I believe that would be. But Powr Labs is actually a new company on the market, and they reached out to allow me to test the devices just for the review, but they have no influence over to what I say. There's no compensation. As always, we want to test this for absolute accuracy when doing CrossFit workouts. So we're going to look at a number of different things just to give you the overview of the specs. This is an $80 optical heart rate monitor. It connects by Bluetooth and ANT+, so dual different frequencies. This comes with two straps. You can wear it both on the forearm and on the bicep. It's a little tight on the bicep, and I'll talk about some of that in the pros and cons, but I just, I made it work for the bicep. It's IPX67 water resistant and protected against dust, but it will, you can't swim with it. You can go 5 meters deep, but you want to just sort of prepare for just heavy shower or heavy sweat or getting caught in the rain, no problems whatsoever. A couple of big features about this: it's got a 60-hour battery life. Now, I did not test it in full to see if it could go the whole 60 hours, but on one charge, that is a long time compared to some of the other players in the market in this particular space, as well as it's got a 12-month return policy. 12-month return policy. So that's pretty exciting. I've got the chest strap, which I'll be testing next. And the crazy thing about this, so this is $80. This chest strap is actually $45 now with a discount. And so I say this not because, I'm a big supporter necessarily, but just because it's an awesome deal. And definitely a company to watch because I think they're going to be evolving more and more different products and features. You can pair this device directly to a watch just through straight Bluetooth or ANT+. It paired very easily with different watches, but you can also pair it directly to different apps on your Android or on your iPhone. I paired it to, successfully to a tested just against another number of different apps, but specifically the Sports Tracker app for the iPhone, because the Sports Tracker will give you actual training load and strain and fatigue, all those basic things we would want. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the device and the charging cord, just sort of a hands-on at how it looks and how it works in person. We're going to look at the results across a number of workouts, and then the analytical sort of analysis results for can it keep up in 3 different ways. Number 1, the average heart rate above 100 beats per minute. Number 2, can it keep up with the 4 and 5 higher intensity zones? Because we're training for CrossFit, you want to be able to have a device that accurately picks up your highest cardiovascular strain point, so 80 to 100% of your max heart rate. And then the hardest zone, zone 5, which is 90 to 100%. So what percentage of accuracy does it have in each of those areas? The average heartbeat above 100 beats per minute, the 4 and 5, 80 to 100% of your max heart rate, and the zone 5, 90 to 100% of max heart rate. And I tested this across a bunch of different workouts, a million different movement types. So we'll be able to see the results in a second, and then we'll come back together and talk about it. So let's dive into a hands-on. And there you have it, folks. There's the full kit. So just a basic, simple, very basic. So then you have the charging cord. The charging cord is actually really easy to use. It's just got 2 magnetic connectors, and you just sort of snap it on, and it easily charges. You got 2 straps with it. So you got a black strap and obviously the neon strap. And the neon goes on the inside, so this has sort of like a slightly rubberized feel. I feel like it held on okay. It could have had a little bit more sort of rubberized feel to it to hold a little bit better. So that side goes in, the furry side goes out, and it just sort of straps around the edge there. You can see the optical heart rate sensor there. You basically have a button here to hold it to turn it on. You can see the light appears, and then it starts to fire. So there it is firing, and all things are simple. You can see it is looking for a connection. It'll turn green if I actually have my phone open and was connecting to something. It is super easy to turn on and off. It's super easy to connect. There's really basic instructions. The red light turns it off, and that's pretty much it. It is just a simple, basic setup, which I love. I love just simple, and the fact that it has super long battery life makes it easy for just throwing it in your bag, not worrying about the charge, and when you do have to charge it, it's really easy just to snap right on there to connect it and charge it up. Did not take too long to charge as well. So let's look at the results, because that's the meat and potatoes of whether it holds up. Okay, so looking at the graphs, we're going to look at the results for the armband and then the results for the chest strap. I did not overlay these or try to figure out a way to export the data because I felt like it wasn't as much worthwhile. Usually when you're doing optical heart rate testing on a watch on the wrist, it makes more sense to do that. But when you're doing this kind of testing, you're really just looking at the final data results. So here it is. You know, obviously there was a bunch of rounds, and it looks like somewhat of a mirror image, even on the front end with the warm-up and the lifting, a mirror image of the flow of the chest strap. So right out of the gate, it looks highly accurate. We're going to look at the specifics. Here's another workout. You can see just a lot of increase on the lifting portion in the Metcon in the later part. Here you see that my actual heart rate spiked in the beginning part with one of the lifts. It was sort of a max out. I think this was the max out on strict dips, and did not pick it up on the armband, but close. Here you see a bunch of rounds with rests in between, and you see a very similar graph on the chest strap. Here, this was the Chad workout, so very long period of time and very unenjoyable. And you see it. Now, I had a bunch of drops. I realized I had to change the battery in the chest strap, so that's what I did. That's why it was having a little bit of faulty following there. Here's the next workout. Again, lifting, following by a Metcon, lifting followed by Metcon. There you see a couple of the drops. This is when I actually, after this one, I did change it out. Here I had a 2K row for time, max effort in the beginning, and then there was followed by another difficult Metcon towards the end. And you see the same thing here. Here another lifting, longer lifting session with shorter Metcon, and it looks almost like a spitting image, except for it didn't pick up the drop in heart rate on the back end of the Metcon. Here another lifting Metcon with rising heart rate peaking out, and again here it looks a little bit more like a mirror image. And one of the final ones, so lifting with a little bit longer Metcon on the back side, and again just looks sort of like a mirror image. One more, so lifting in the beginning, a lot of lifting, and then Metcon peaking out, and same thing, just mirror image. So these are all really great results. So let's look at the final tally of all the workouts. So obviously when you see green, that is 90s, that is high level accuracy, that is A accuracy. So you can see that it has just one off. There's a couple of 89.8, 89.6 mixed in there, which I just rounded up to 90 as a green level accuracy, and then there's one B score at 87%. So we get into the averages, and the average heart rate accuracy 96.2, and it is given a harder weight to it because I'm cutting out the bottom beats per minute and just testing the accuracy at just the highest level. The zone 5, 94% accurate, and the zone 4 and 5, that is actually, you know, one of the most important aspects at 98% accurate because it's capturing at least the highest rated, rated zones. And then we get a final score of 95.6. So 96, 95.5, 96% accurate is a highly accurate device. The Polar Verity Sense got 98, so it's even more accurate, but this is still high level accuracy for what you would want to count on for a CrossFit workout. Let's talk about it. So there you have it. Now, what do I think of this in a market where there are a number of different optical heart rate armband sensors? So I'll give you the pros and the cons. The pro obviously is that it has good accuracy. I wouldn't say this was like superior accuracy because I had a little bit better accuracy with the Polar Verity Sense, but it had excellent accuracy for the most part, except for some of the highest strain zones, and that probably was because it got moved around on my bicep. Secondly, it was super easy. This is the kind of, compared to the Polar Verity Sense, actually didn't like the Polar Verity the Polar Verity Sense experience because it had a little puck and it snaps in place and you have to charge it in a certain way, put it on a special charger, and you have to set it for the right thing depending on whether you're just transmitting to a device or whether you're recording it internally in the device. So this was actually just so easy to charge, to pair, to use. You just turn it on, the device automatically starts picking up the heart rate, you do your workout, you record it on the device, record it on the watch, and you stop recording and turn it off and you're good to go. So you don't have to fuss. Another huge thing about this was the battery life. Again, for simplicity in day-to-day life, I like that I don't have to think about like, oh gosh, it's been 3 days. Is it gonna keep up? This has a 60-hour battery life. Again, I didn't test it for the full 60 hours, but across 10 workouts, I didn't even have to blink or wonder or think about whether it was going to function or work. It just worked. And that is fantastic for simple life. You just throw it in the bag, charge it maybe once a week, and you know you're with confidence it's good to go. I like that it's dual frequency, that it's ANT plus Bluetooth, because if you're connecting one device to Bluetooth and you want to connect another across a different channel, you can connect this via ANT plus. And so those are the pros. Now, what are the cons? So the cons, you know, I feel like this is just a hair overpriced for a new company coming into the market trying to be competitive against some of the other existing. And we're going to talk about the existing players on the market in this particular space. So the price at $80, I feel like is just a hair too high because it is a little simple. Now, I would prefer this, but I would prefer to pay a little bit less money for less features and benefits. So I think this should be $60, maybe $70 worth in expense because I just want simple, but I also don't want to pay extra for the features. Now, I will pay for the battery life, so that is a benefit. The other thing is that it doesn't list on the website any range specifications. And the strap was probably one of the other big cons, was the fact that it didn't, you know, so I cannot stand wearing something on the forearm. When you're doing shoulder to overhead presses, sometimes you'll get a pinch depending on where you wear it. You can wear it on the outside, but its accuracy is going to come down just a bit. If you wear it on the inside, that's where you're going to get better accuracy because it's smooth, clear skin and a lot of, you know, vascular area. But at the same time, if you're doing movements, it can pinch, which is what I'm having the hard time with on the Whoop on the forearm. So the fact that the band doesn't stretch as easily for different bicep widths or circumferences, you know, it worked fine for the size of a typical forearm. Even if you have big forearms, I think it's going to work fine. But if you're trying to wear on a bicep and you have extra big biceps, then it's going to be a little bit problematic because I was on the very end of the stretch and my biceps are, they're not huge. And so they need to offer two bands, one for the forearm and one for the bicep, and then it'll be good to go in solid. So just lower the price a little bit, offer two bands, one specifically for the bicep that has more adjustability, more range, and more length to it. So how does it compare to the Polar Verity Sense, to the Scosche Rhythm 2.0 or the Scosche Rhythm, you know, Plus, just the original 1.0? I feel like there are pros and cons on both. I think the most competitive would be the Scosche Rhythm Plus, which is the 1.0 of the Scosche Rhythm. It's the exact same price at $80 each, except for this has more battery life. So better features there. I haven't tested the Scosche Rhythm Plus to know if Scosche Rhythm has a little bit better accuracy, but I feel like it's a little bit of a head-to-head comparison. This wins by battery life, but I feel like, again, it should be a little bit less expensive to be truly competitive because the Scosche Rhythm has, I believe, a little more flexibility on the strap size. Then the Polar Verity Sense. The Polar Verity Sense, I would say, is the gold standard of optical heart rate accuracy when worn on the bicep. It has a ton of flexibility. They come with a bunch of different like straps. You can put it on goggles. It is fully water submersible. And so the Polar Verity Sense, you can swim with it. It's got special goggle things that you can, it also has special features like you can record data on there and then just dump it into an app later. You can actually have it transmit it real time to a device. And the transmission range is like 150 feet with the new sort of connector that they have on the Verity Sense over the OH1 Plus. So those are the benefits. Now, all those benefits, and then you have swimming. So you actually have a swimming mode on the Polar Verity Sense where it'll actually track your laps and your turn points and does something like that for $10 more. Now, you're also getting less battery life. So you get 30 hours of battery life on the Polar Verity Sense, and you have all those other features. Plus, Plus, it is a little bit, you know, you can take it off and put it in different places. You can have it on the temple, you can have it on your goggles, you can move it around. But again, so that has more features and at least a strong battery life and more capabilities. But again, those things are not important to me. Those things I don't find to be value. The one thing that is sort of the rub between the Verity Sense and the Powr Labs armband is that the Verity Sense had even higher accuracy when worn on the bicep and doing CrossFit workouts. So with that, next up is the, not this one, is the chest strap somewhere around here. So I'm gonna do the chest strap at $45. I cannot wait to test this because that is awesome. I like that it's sort of a similar style to the Polar H9 or the Polar H10. So I'm hoping it can keep up in the same exact fashion, because to have an accurate chest strap, you know, at $45 or even $40, $50 if it's not on sale, is an absolute contender. So stay tuned for more Powr Labs to come. With that, that's the Figure Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.